What's up, guys? It's Tony with For Money. Welcome to the November episode of Curbside Treasure 2020, where I am going to show you the $1,942 worth of trash that I found and sold this month. I'm also going to talk about a not so pleasant encounter with a homeowner, and I got pulled over by the cops. What a month. Let's do it. If you're new to my channel, welcome and thanks for stopping by. And if you're new to the series, I highly recommend you go check out the intro to Curbside Treasure 2020, as well as the July, August, September, and October episodes, so you can kind of get caught up on what the heck is going on here. July, our sales were $22.01. In August, we beat that by $1. In September, we had $2,000 in sales. And last month, we had $1,738 in sales. This month, we're trending upward again. We had $1,942 in sales. In our first category of appliances, we had $26 in sales this month. This little mini fridge here, I sold for 26 bucks. It was clicking, but it did not cool. I tried that trick where you replace the fuse or the relay. That didn't work. Sold it as parts only. We had a huge month in bike sales, $526. This first one here is this women's mountain bike that I sold for $58. This next one here was pretty cool. So I posted it on the marketplace for a little over 200 bucks, and some lady bought them all for $180. So in one of the local groups that I posted these bikes in, I got a lot of heat from a lot of people why I was selling bikes during the holidays. And in my listing, I said, of all these bikes, maybe 2 are ready to go. The rest of them need some sort of work done, and there's a few of them that are just parts only. And I had a lot of people saying, shame on you, how dare you sell bikes, you should donate these to toy organizations or to the fire department. Maybe I'm in the wrong, I don't know, they're sold, they're gone, but everybody telling me that I should not have sold them got me thinking, but I think I did the right thing. Let me know what you think. This little BMX bike sold for 38 bucks. This giant bike right here sold for $140. When I was driving around, I was actually on the phone with a buddy of mine, and I told him, hey man, I found this giant yellow bike. He's like, wait, is it a giant bike because it's big or giant because it's the brand? I said, it's giant, the brand. He said, dude, pick that thing up. I don't care what condition it's in. Those bikes are valuable. The guy who ended up buying it is now a good friend of mine, Rick Mosling, Peddler on Wheels. He's a traveling bike repairman in the Houston area. So this next lot of bikes and coolers sold for $110. I had actually sold the coolers first to a guy. Prepaid me, but never showed up. I ended up just refunding him the money because I couldn't hold these coolers any longer. Same lady from the first lot of bikes I sold this month, she came to pick these up. I said, look, do you want these coolers too? I'll throw them in for the same price I was giving them. $110 for all these bikes and these coolers was a steal. And once all the bikes were gone, here's what my backyard looked like. I promise you, it was clear, nothing there until next month. This month in furniture, we had $279 in sales. So a buddy of mine was looking for a brown shelf. When I picked this one up, I sent it to her. She's like, no, it's not that nice. I don't want it. So I actually left it there, and I came back a few minutes later because I thought about it. I said, you know what? I could probably sell that thing. So I went back, picked it up, took it home, staged it, and it sold for 44 bucks. These 2 IKEA dressers I sold as a pair for 80 bucks. This fancy dog bowl I sold for $55. This little outdoor glass table sold for 15 bucks. And this little baby cachet branded 4-drawer dresser sold for 85. They actually sent me a picture of what it looked like when they set it up, and they were very grateful because this thing retailed for over $400 and I sold it to them for 85 bucks. That was a steal. This month in kid related items, we had $246 in sales. This first one is this Lego set that I sold on eBay for $42, and after shipping and fees, I made $24. This next one was this light up hoverboard that I sold for $45. It had the charger and the box with it. This next one is a frame for a game called Spike Ball. I sold it on eBay for $24. After shipping and fees, I made 10 bucks. Not a huge profit, but at least it didn't go in the trash. I sold this very nice sandbox turtle for $35. I sold this Barbie one-seater car for $10. I sold this vintage Hungry Hippos game from the early 90s on eBay for $58, and after shipping and fees, I profited $34. This little kid's roller coaster sold for $44. The lady who bought this was extremely thrilled because she didn't have to pay over $100 for this thing, and her son was gonna love it. I sold these 6 little chairs for 20 bucks. I sold this toddler day bed for 24 bucks. It took a little longer than I thought, but I knew it was a good one, so I didn't want to throw it away. And this last one here is this 36-inch Darth Vader. I don't have a set price on this one because I actually combined it with another lot of Star Wars stuff that I've sold, so I kind of just threw this one in there to make the deal a little sweeter. This month in sport related items, we had $132 in sales. I sold these little 6 workout mats for 15 bucks. The equipment was not included. I sold this Rawlings tackle dummy for 35 bucks. This 4-tiered chrome rolling rack sold for $64. I had no clue what it was when I picked it up. I thought it was completely broken. It was actually in great shape, and I staged it with a bunch of my neighbors' sporting goods. I actually rolled this thing to their house, loaded up all this stuff, took a picture, and brought it right back. It sold for $64. I was pretty thrilled about this one. This last one here was this almost really good Nordic track elliptical. When I pulled up to this house, the homeowner was rolling it out, and he tells me, go ahead and take it. This thing works. It's awesome. I load this thing up, super thrilled. I go home. The following day, I start trying to test it out. The computer worked on this thing, but one of the legs was not working. There was a very small part that Nordic no longer makes. I couldn't find it on eBay. I couldn't find it on Amazon. I spent about 20-30 minutes trying to fix this thing. Did not work. I posted it as parts only on the local Facebook marketplace, and I was very clear. You cannot find this part anywhere, but if you have access to welding, I can show you how I think it can be fixed. And the homeowner who pushed it out, he knew that, but I don't understand why he told me it works great, go ahead and take it. That was kind of odd. So I sold it for 18 bucks. I had high hopes for this thing, but it didn't pan out that well. But it wasn't a total loss either. This month in tools, we had $113 in sales. I use this app called Google Lens, and it'll tell you what certain items are. If you don't know what they are, you can just upload a photo and it'll search the internet and find something that looks just like it. It's actually a cart that holds tanks for like welders and stuff. So the tires on this thing were completely shot, but the tubes were actually pretty good. So I took the tires off of this little girl's bike that I had laying around for just parts, and they fit on this thing perfectly. And I sold it in about a couple hours for $45. After I wiped it down, it looked amazing. We had a huge month in a bunch of random miscellaneous items, $620 in sales. Everything you see right here, minus the propane tank, I sold for 40 bucks. So one of my neighbors actually gave me these 2 wooden pallets that they had in their garage, and they were just thrilled to get rid of. And I was able to make this little display here, and I provided the pumpkins with it. And as the time went on, more and more neighbors kept bringing more and more pumpkins, and we even added some hay bales to it. So a month later, this thing was stacked, and we probably had maybe 50 to 60 different families come by and take pictures. That was really cool. And then at the end of the month, I just threw away all the pumpkins. This brings me to my favorite item of the month. It's this Yamaha electric keyboard that I sold for $94. The only thing this piano needed was the little 12-volt cable that I bought on Amazon for like 9 bucks. After that, it worked perfectly, not a scratch. It had the little legs to hold the piano as well. 94 bucks for that one was a really good deal. All right, now here's a few items that I just didn't pick up. Now let me tell you about this little disgruntled homeowner. Up to this point, not a single upset homeowner, but I got one. So I pull up to this house and I see this wheelbarrow. It did not meet the criteria of being past the curb, and clear and obvious. So I was not gonna take it. I actually left, but for the sake of getting a picture, I came back. And when I came back, I started to get off the truck to take a picture of it, and the homeowner comes out of the house. Normally, when a homeowner comes out of the house, he's just gonna tell me, yes, go ahead and take it. How are you doing, neighbor? What's going on? I normally try to give the first word. I said, hey, how are you doing, neighbor? Am I free to take this? So he has this flashlight that's extremely bright, and I can't see if it's a male or a female. I don't even know what it is. It's so dark. And he says, hey, what are you doing? At this point, I realize he's not in a mood to talk. And once again, I try to calm down. I said, hey, neighbor, I live a couple blocks down the road. It's trash night. I was wondering if this thing was trash. Because at that point, I'm not going to explain to him, hey, I'm just here to take a picture for a YouTube video of trash that I don't pick up. That doesn't make any sense. So at this point, I might as well ask him for it, right? Because we're there. And then he says, what, you want to borrow my wheelbarrow? And at this point, I say, you know what? Have a good night. I'll be on my way. The homeowner snaps his fingers twice like that. This German Shepherd comes out of the house and sits right next to his leg. Now, mind you, I'm about 40 or 50 feet away from him, right? I'm not that close. I'm in the street. He's in his patio. So I see the dog come out, and I get in my truck right away. I lower the window down, and I say, have a nice night. He finally takes 3 or 4 seconds. He puts his flashlight down and says, all right, you guys get on your way. Have a nice night. I mean, he was in every right to defend his property, but I never stepped on his property, right? I wanted to just get a picture, but he doesn't know that. He just sees this random truck in the middle of the night pulling up to his house. I know for a fact that this wheelbarrow was trash. It retailed for like $270, and whether or not he intended to throw it away, they were gonna take it. I've seen way too many nice things to know that these trash collectors do not make judgment calls. If it's on the curb, not past the curb, if it's in the driveway near the trash can, they will take everything but the trash can. I promise you 100% this thing was gone. It actually could have gone pretty bad, but I'm glad he just had the flashlight and the dog and didn't stick them on me. So it took me about 20-30 minutes for my heart rate to come down because I was still a little shook up, but not completely discouraged. The following day, I have this police officer tailing me for about 7 or 8 streets. Never pulled me over, just tailing me. And I'm thinking, just pull me over. Let's just get this over with. But I wasn't just gonna stop. I wanted him to pull me over. So I pull into the dead-end street and I come back around. Never turns his lights on, just kind of blocks my exit. Puts his hand out the window, asking me to stop. And I pull up next to him, I lower my window down, and he looks me dead in the eye and says, "You picking trash, son?" And my initial thought was, I hope he's joking because I want to respond back with a joke. Obviously, my truck's full of stuff. And before I get to make that decision of whether he's joking or not, he just busts out laughing. And he's just like nodding his head. He said, "You find anything good?" And I'm like very thrown back. Like, this cop, for one, is not getting after me. 2, he's actually interested in what I'm doing and asking if I have found anything nice. Extremely fun, extremely funny. And I asked him what gave it away. He says, "Well, you got a truck full of stuff. Just as long as you don't make a mess and don't do anything suspicious, you're good with me. Have a nice night." And the day after the whole flashlight German Shepherd incident, for the police to pull me over and give me some sort of like sign that, hey, you know what, you're good, just don't bother anybody, that was huge for me personally, because I'm driving around thinking, man, should I be doing this? Is this not right? Both of those encounters could have gone much worse, but hey, I'm still here. All right, now here are a few things that I just gave away. This one here is probably the coolest thing that I gave away. When I picked it up, all I noticed is that it was colorful, it looked like it was very well made. I had no idea what it was, and I looked it up. It's called the Steamroller Deluxe. It's used by kids and adults who have autism, and some people call this the hug machine. And what you do is you kind of roll through it, and it applies pressure to your stomach and your back, and it makes you feel like you're being hugged. So I posted this picture on my neighborhood app. I said, look, I found this on the curb. If you know somebody who can utilize this device, please reach out to me. It's all yours, no cost. And one of my neighbors reached out and said that her son had been recently diagnosed with autism. She reached out to her son's teacher. Her son's teacher was thrilled to get their hands on something like this. These things are expensive. They retail for over $500, but I was just very happy that this was not gonna end up in a landfill and somebody was actually gonna get to utilize this thing once again. Okay, now here are a few things that I kept. All right, that concludes all the items for November. Our total now from July through November in sales is $11,083. Let me remind you guys, everything came from the curb. I did not pay for any of this stuff. Everything was past the curb on trash nights, and I just picked it up and sold it, either on the Facebook Marketplace, some of it on eBay. Go out there, buy something, or in this case, find something, sell it, and use the profits to fund your passion. All right, we'll see you in the December episode.